Good evening, everyone, and welcome to all the participants. Today, BPB Publications, Asia's largest publisher of technology books from last 63 years, are pleased to present a webinar on artificial intelligence for schools. So, the agenda of the webinar is to understand that why artificial intelligence is introduced in the schools for class 8 to 9 and 10th, and what are the objectives of the course, and how it is very important to learn AI for every student. So we welcome Chandrika Vedamji as a speaker of today's webinar. Chandrika ji is based in Bangalore and is an author of many computer science books. Chandrika ji has over 20 years of experience in education industry as a lecturer. Uh, Chandrika ji has authored many books. And recently, she has authored a book on artificial intelligence made simple for class 10th as per CBSE. So we welcome you, Chandrika ji. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thanks,
So,
Surbhi.
so we are
Uh,
very happy you are here.
yeah, thank you.
And
Uh,
please share your experience and all your knowledge about AI with our participants.
yeah, I'll be happy to.
Yeah, thank
Hello,
you so much.
friends. Yeah, hello, friends. It's a beautiful day here in Bangalore, and I welcome all of you to this webinar hosted by BPB Publications. Thank you, Surbhi, for the introduction once again. Give me a moment to share my presentation so that we can begin with the
Yes,
webinar.
sure.
Yeah. One Okay, so let's begin with today's agenda. This webinar is to socialize about the book Artificial Intelligence Made Simple, published by BPB, as I said earlier. Needless to say, AI is changing the way we live. Of course, we see AI all around us in Alexa, Cortana, etc. This webinar focuses on three broad areas. First, on why we need to teach AI to kids and how AI helps students. That will be the first agenda item. Second, what are the fun aids and resources which we can use to introduce AI to kids? That will be the second agenda item. And finally, um, to explore the structure of the syllabus and the main features of the book. But before jumping in, let me begin with a short introduction to my professional journey. So, my association with BPB started 25 years ago when I purchased my first computer book from their signature store at Daryaganj. It is nostalgic indeed. I was doing my graduation in English literature at the time from Delhi University. And a degree in English literature also laid the foundation for doing research and writing. During my graduation, actually, I got curious about computers, and that led me to do an advanced diploma course in software development. While completing this course, I joined a leading school in Delhi as computer science lecturer and taught 11th and 12th standard. Uh, While teaching, I developed computer workbooks for NCRT. I also wrote a book on advanced C++ programming for ITT University of Indianapolis. That was very long time ago. Post that, there was no looking back actually, and I wrote more than 120 textbooks and journal books for various publishers here in India as well as abroad. Then in 2008, I established Excalibur Solutions and took a dive into entrepreneurship, which is again a very important chapter in our book. Currently, I have collaborated with an edtech firm to develop AR/VR educational experiences, and these will be implemented in Oculus. Therefore, my thirst for learning continues. I think that's about myself. At this point, I would like to take a small poll before getting into the core of the webinar. The poll is not mandatory. It's up to you if you want to take it. But this poll will help us know you better. So if you can, please open a new tab in your browser and type slido.com. Enter the code as 6325 and answer the question. We'll have a look at the live results on the screen. So we'll take a minute for you to type the URL and the code and take the poll.
Ma'am, can you please repeat the name of the website once again?
It's called Slido, Slido. So one person has taken the poll, okay, two have taken. So it is about, are you a computer science or an AI teacher? So I can see people taking polls. At the moment, there are 4 people who have taken the poll, and all are computer science teachers. That's really cool. We'll wait for a few more seconds for others to take the poll. Okay, it's 6 now. Is the result screen visible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. We can actually come back to this result screen later again. And just wait for a few more seconds and then continue to another poll question. Okay, people are still doing it. I think we should wait a little more. I can see the number changing on the top right corner. Now, this poll actually tells us what kind of audience we have today, whether it's a heterogeneous audience or whether it's a targeted audience. And I'm happy to see mostly there are computer science teachers who are attending this webinar. Okay, so I think we'll move to the next poll question. Now, this question is what you think about AI. So your opinion matters. So again, the same steps, go to slido.com, enter the same code and answer the question. So choose the language that you are proficient with. Okay, Python, C++, okay, C++. I hope all of you are able to see the result screen. So predominantly, Python is the language which most of us are familiar with. And Python is the language which is associated with artificial intelligence, of course. Of course, C++ is the language behind IoTs these days. So C++ is again coming back. Okay, now that we know each other better, I think we can start with the first agenda item. So this is, why do we need to teach AI to our kids? That's the first question. Why is there a need? So we all know that the future is AI powered. These days also we see Alexa, Cortana, biometrics, so many things around us which are AI powered. We need to teach our children that the future of AI rests in their hands. I mean, none of us would have thought 30 years back that everything would be running on computers 30 years later, right? And we also have to teach our kids that they must use AI responsibly. Okay, because when they grow up, AI will be everywhere. So there are many educational platforms that teach kids how to create and train machine learning models to recognize images, also the sounds, text, and the numbers. And they need not know any coding skills. I mean, initially, of course. Later on, of course, if they want to get into hardcore AI, they need to learn coding skills also. The second is solving real world problems. Now, the future professionals, that is our kids, must know the challenges with the world will face and hence should be prepared for the same by being able to predict the not just the outcomes but also the solutions. I mean, they are the people who will be making the solutions, right? And of course, the example is today's COVID situation. We must, acknowledge that AI has actually helped in this situation. So therefore, we must prepare our kids to tackle such problems. Also, we have to make our kids ready for futuristic jobs. Now, if AI is going to be everywhere, the jobs are dependent on computers these days. So therefore, all of us will agree that future is AI and some knowledge of AI is essential for all. Then, of course, last but not the least is the inclusivity. I mean, that is a very dear topic to me because I want to raise my daughter in an inclusive society. And the world which we live in today has become a global village due to interconnectedness provided by the technology. However, there are people living with learning and physical disabilities. We can't deny the fact, and we have to include these people into our society, into our jobs, into our organizations. Um, and this gap can be crossed through AI. So technologies like Siri and Alexa help a lot. In fact, Microsoft I think it was year 2018, pledged millions of dollars for an AI for accessibility program, which commits to helping people with disability. A familiar example is that of Stephen Hawking, actually, the astrophysicist who was actually against AI. He did not like AI, but he himself was given voice by AI. I mean, he couldn't talk, he couldn't walk, and we know how about his great work which he did in the field of astrophysics. That was all possible because he was given an artificial voice which he lost in 1985. So this was accomplished through AI. Therefore, I'm sure all of us will agree that teaching kids about AI is the need of the hour. Now, how AI can help students? I mean, coming back to students again in the present generation, how it helps students. It can actually help students in many ways. Children can get more personalized tutoring through artificial intelligence and AR, VR experiences. Oculus is one example. Then they can learn at their own pace. I mean, no child is same. We all will agree to that. I mean, some learn fast, some learn slow, some are average. So each child can learn at their own pace. Also, kids with disabilities like dyslexia will have innovative ways of learning. And thanks to artificial intelligence, students now have the ability to learn anywhere, anytime. Actually, this makes quality education possible for rural students and also the students in lower economic zones. More accessible and affordable. Uh, So this was our first agenda item. Now moving on to our second agenda. Mm. Now there are, I mean, when it comes to kids, learning begins with fun activities, whatever the age be. I mean, whether it's a 5-year-old or an 11-year-old or a 17-year-old, or for that matter, us. I mean, if we are getting into something new, we would like to begin it with some fun. And all of us know and will agree that AI can be daunting, not just to kids, but to adults too. I mean, it daunted me in the beginning for sure. I mean, even hearing the name AI, the term AI, was something which was beyond me. But once I started learning it and, understanding it and experimenting on it, it became interesting. So there are innumerable fun aids available on the internet, of course, to introduce AI to kids. However, Google AI experiments are most popular. So let us look at two such experiments. The first is the quick draw. So I'm going to play a video on quick draw for you. Right. In this, yeah, first in this, a network learns to recognize doodling. It urges you to draw an object and then predicts it while you draw it. In this process, it adds your drawings to world's largest doodling data set. So you are actually adding data to data sets, which are shared publicly to help with machine learning research. So that was quick draw. It's pure fun. I mean, children love it. I also love it, and other adults who know me, I mean, I know them. They also like it a lot. So second one is Semantris. Um, Semantris is a word association game which is powered by AI. Uh, you are supposed to enter a word or a phrase, and the game ranks all the words on screen, scoring them based on how well they respond to what you had typed. However, I mean, this can later be used to explain the concepts of classification and clustering, which are important topics in artificial intelligence. So I'll let this video run, or maybe I'll fast forward it a little. So as you can see, as and when you type, it keeps adding your words to the data set and keeps matching them, and you keep scoring points. So there are I hope you enjoyed these two videos. Now, continuing with more fun aids, let's begin with Botsify. In this, teachers can actually create chat box for their students, and users can interact with the chat box. Also, I mean, who wouldn't enjoy creating their own avatar? I mean, children are pro at it these days. So one such tool is My Talking Avatar. Then there is another one, a very popular one called Akinator, which is available on Google Play and iOS. This is he is a genius actually, and he tries to guess the real and the fictional character you are thinking about. So it's pure fun while learning about data sets. Again, it teaches you a lot about data sets. Um, then also apps provide students with opportunities to have additional practice and learning. Okay, this is educational learning about other subjects. So there are apps like ODZ for geography, Splash Math for math, Noji for vocabulary, and Brainly where Brainly actually lets students ask and answer questions on a collaborative community. Uh, so there are numerous fun aids actually which are available. So With this, we finish our second agenda item of the webinar. And we move on to our third agenda item, which is, of course, the AI curriculum developed by CBSE. So all of us know that this this subject has the code 417, and it focuses on helping students or learners understand the world of AI and its applications through games and activities, and we can say, of course, multisensorial learning, so that the learner can become AI ready. I mean, we have to make them AI ready, right? So this curriculum focuses on that. Um, uh, we spoke about this in earlier slides also. This curriculum also introduces learners to three domains of AI, which are data science, which handles data, computer vision, and also natural language processing. In my book, a chapter is dedicated to each of these. And also, of course, CBSE also prescribes the same. Then the curriculum also allows the learners to construct meaning of AI through interactive participation and engaging in hands-on activities. Needless to say, I mean, this is not just for AI, it is also for all the other subjects. So this type of learning is called inquiry-based learning. Now, inquiry-based learning is something which is very new in India. I mean, of course, there are a certain sect of schools who are already into it, but others are also catching up. So, what is inquiry-based learning is that it is the child only who asks the question and finds the answers. So, and we are the resources, the parents and the teachers and the other aides are the resources which help the child to learn on his own. And that is inquiry-based learning. Then there's a chapter which is dedicated to introduce learners to AI project cycle, the complete project cycle, which has 5 main stages. And finally, students also learn the programming skills using Python in the language. Again, there's a chapter dedicated to this in the book. Then CBSE has also listed the learning outcomes. What are their expectations out of this syllabus? So basically, they want to make students ready to identify and use AI applications in daily life. I mean, many of us are already doing that, and our kids also, thanks to this lockdown, our kids also now know some of it. Then relate, apply, and reflect on human-machine interactions. Of course, where the human gives some we can say order or some task to the machine, and the machine takes a decision on its own and to solve it. So this syllabus again takes the child towards acquired AI readiness skills. So these are the skills which we want our kids to acquire. Then, as I said, in inquiry-based learning, we want our kids to imagine, examine, and reflect on new skills. See, all of us see when our kids are small, okay, we want them to go for dance classes, then we want them to go for singing classes, then we want them to go for some sport also, for swimming also. I mean, we keep on experimenting till we know that, okay, my child likes this. So similarly here, even in AI, there are various verticals. You know, there is a vertical of imagination, then there's the vertical of examination, reflection, implementation. So there are so many things. And children can, at this stage, can experiment with different skills and then focus on one particular one, which they are comfortable with. Also, of course, when we talk about AI, we cannot not talk about smart homes and smart workplaces. So, of course, the syllabus covers the same. Then this point, fifth point, is again very dear to my heart. Again, we must teach our children to be responsible citizens, and this could be accomplished through AI. Um, our children can understand the impact of AI on sustainable development goals, which are given out by UN, and each and every country, whether it's a developed nation or an underdeveloped nation, must follow these sustainable development goals. Of course, AI is one such tool which people are using to work towards these goals. Then there is research and development for the awareness of the skills required for the jobs in future. Of course, as I said, 30 years ago, no one could have predicted that if each and everyone, even a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old, will be using computers 30 years later. Okay, so similarly, research and develop awareness of skills required for future jobs of is very much required, which is again covered in part A of the book. Then again, a very important topic is to gain awareness about AI biases and AI ethics. Now, AI has always been quite controversial. I mean, many of us think that it is not good to do further research in AI, and one day AI will overcome humans, which might as well be true. We don't know, I mean, to which extent we'll go to in developing AI. So those are AI ethics. I mean, to what extent do we need to do research on AI? As I mentioned earlier, Stephen Hawking, he was an astrophysicist and totally against AI. Same with Bill Gates. I mean, he is not very pro AI development in AI. But of course, we have to move ahead. Then there's AI biases regarding gender, why Alexa has only female voice and not a male voice, and etc. So those types of topics are also covered in the book. Children should start thinking on these lines actually. Why and why not? So those kind of things. Then of course today's generation need to develop effective communication and collaborative work skills. So again, this topic has been covered in part A of the book of the syllabus. So this is about the syllabus and the structure of the book prescribed by CPSE. Now let us look at the structure as such. Just give me a moment. I'll just sip some water. Just give me 2 seconds. As we all know, the syllabus is structured in 4 parts: A, B, C, and D. So part A is basically about employability skills, in which first unit covers communication skills. So children are taught basic English and the nuances of grammar and diction so that they can communicate better. Second unit is a very important unit. It is about self-management skills, how to tackle tension, stress, etc., how to manage time. So these are very important topics which are covered in Unit 2. Unit 3, I would say our children already know a lot about. That is all about computers. So basic computers our children already know. But that doesn't mean that it's not an important unit. Then fourth, of course, India is a startup country now. I mean, there are more startups than anywhere in the world than as there are in India. So fourth chapter is on entrepreneurial skills. I had a lot of fun writing this chapter because it felt as if I was writing about myself, my own journey. So that was pure fun. And of course, again, Unit 5 is a very, very important unit. It is all about environment and sustainable goals and how and what we can do to conserve our environment. So that is part A of the book. Then part B is the core portion of the book, of course. It is on artificial intelligence. The first unit introduces artificial intelligence. It tells the difference between AI and data science and machine learning and deep learning. Many people get confused between these terms. So this chapter basically tells the difference between all these, how deep learning is a part of machine learning, which is a part of artificial learning, and so on and so forth. Unit 2 is all about AI project cycle, the 5 stages of project cycle. So those are mentioned in Unit 2. Unit 3 is an elaborate chapter on Python, which tells the fundamentals, which teaches the fundamentals of Python. So right from the beginning, how to print something on the screen to how to manipulate lists. So all that is explained in the third unit. Um, uh, this unit, if you look at it examination wise, then this unit will not have any theory questions in the exam paper, but it will be assessed practically. But of course, when children give practicals, they also give EVAs. So of course, they should learn theory too. Similar is the case with data science. This chapter is all about manipulating data, data sets, about training data, about testing data, what is the difference between two, and so on. Chapter 5 is about computer vision, about images, how images are used in AI. That is Unit 5. And Unit 6, of course, natural language processing. It's all about NLP and what all concepts one needs to learn, basic concepts one needs to learn to know about NLP. And finally, there's a Unit 7 on evaluation, which is actually the fifth stage of the AI project cycle. And which is the last stage of the AI project cycle. So but it is a very important stage because there are very relevant and important topics which are introduced in this chapter. Though they have not gone into detail, but still, of course, children need to know these. So this is part B. Then we go on to part C, which is the practical work. Of course, the practical, the coding on Python. Children should be able to write short programs on Python. Then children should be able to plot graphs using data, and they should also be able to use software for some or the other software for computer vision. Um, so this will be for practical examination. And finally, part D, project work. Now, about project and field visit is okay. I mean, children can visit labs in pharma organizations or other offices as field visit. But project work, I would rather say that children will not be able to learn from this curriculum as much so that they can create a complete project. So from project work, we can infer that they are able to write short programs to accomplish small tasks, maybe create a calculator, that kind of thing. So here, unlike in C++, unlike C++, I mean, we used to develop long projects, Here, we don't have this much scope in AI curriculum that we can create a complete huge project where we can scrape data and then use it to produce algorithms and create a complete project. So we can assume that here we expect children to write short programs. So this is about the four parts of the syllabus. Now, of course, let us look at the main features of the book. Let's go back to the book and look at the main features of the book. So, of course, um, the book has engaging content, which is written in a simple English, which anybody can understand. So this book can be used as a personal guide, or it can be used as a textbook to teach children, which it is. And PPP has provided attractive illustrations and diagrams to make it more attractive to support the text so that children remain interested in it. Then we have infographics. Now, infographics are again very important part of any subject these days. I mean, mind maps are there for each and every subject. You show a mind map to a kid, and he or she will remember the concept for a longer time than learning about it or than rote learning. So the book is full of infographics which support content. So the child can read and look at connect with the infographics and retain concepts in the memory for a longer time. So here are a few examples of infographics on the screen. Then, of course, there are tables to make content more crisp and concise. Content is given or interspaced clearly in tables. Then there's a feature called Know How, which is nothing but in-text definitions, the important definitions which are highlighted in the running text. And there's another feature which is Know More, which is nothing but the extra knowledge on the concept taught. So these are the actually interesting tidbits which make learning more interesting. Then now, since earlier, I mean, in my day, we used to learn quotations by famous writers. Now, these days, children learn quotations from quotes of famous personalities who belong to AI and computer science. So, I decided to quote a few people in the book just to make it more interesting and to have an insight in what they think about AI. So we learn about what these prominent personalities think about AI and how they are moving ahead in this field. Then IntelliBox is again unique facts which actually surprise us. Or which may not be visible while learning, but which help us a lot. And smart tips are important points to implement or remember. Uh, 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 we can say a statement in a code or manipulate some software. Then every after every topic or two topics, depending upon the length of the topic, we have given a quick quiz, which is a refresher in-text exercise. It doesn't have more than 5 questions, and children can answer these just to refresh what they have learned. Then there are activities, in-text activities. These are hands-on activities where children are asked to go to some URL, perform some activity and write the results, and so on and so forth. And then we have points to remember, which is the summary of the chapter, followed by glossary, which are all the important definitions placed at the end of the chapter, and followed by, of course, an elaborate uh, checking of the progress of the child in the form of various exercises. Um, so this is about the book. Um, I just decided to place some teacher resources on the screen. Um, for Python, of course, most of us, since the poll showed most of us know Python, you would be knowing that Python can be downloaded from python.org. However, for any reason, if you are unable to download Python ideally, then in that case, you can also make use of online compilers, in which case you don't need to download Python. These are Python Fiddle, which is a very good compiler, online compiler. Then there's Programmers, which is again a very good compiler, which we can use. Of course, we can introduce AI to students using experiments with Google. Microsoft also has a similar bouquet of experiments. And I will recommend everyone to read Introduction to Artificial Intelligence by Philip C. Jackson, which is highly recommended by people who are into artificial intelligence. I myself will start it now. I mean, I haven't read it because I was busy writing this book. So I'm going to start it now, and hopefully next time when we meet, most of us would have read this. So with this, we come to an end of the webinar. However, sorry, I will actually uh, ask Surbi to join again. Surbi, over to you. Surbi?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah,
So
can you hear me?
do
Yeah.
we have any queries now? Any participant is most welcome to ask any question here.
Surbi, can I say something
Yes,
here?
yes, sure. Yes, sure.
Yeah, if they are reluctant to post right now, maybe they can send their mails or queries to me at chandrikajaini at gmail.com. I'll
Yes,
be
we
happy
can.
to answer
Yes,
their
uh,
queries. Shall I type
so
my email ID?
you can type in the chat box.
Yeah.
We have a question from Komal Gupta that can you please tell about the unit computer vision?
Yeah, sure.
So,
Just give me a moment. I'll quote from the book itself so that you know what kind of material has been given. Just give me a moment. Now, computer vision is a slightly complex topic for children in the beginning, but once we start learning about it, it becomes quite interesting. So, in the book itself, we have started the chapter with a fun activity, which is emoji scavenger hunt. It's again a Google experiment named emoji scavenger hunt. And with this, the child is introduced to this concept. If we need to talk about computer vision, we should first know the applications in which it is used. There is facial recognition, and then there are these self-driving cars, and face filters. So what happens is that they make use of some image which is outside the system in order to create some algorithm which will solve the task. So it is highly actually beneficial to many people. For example, Listerine had developed a facial recognition app that provides support to blind people using face recognition. So what the app does is it takes data from outside. It catches the vibrations from the other people when they are smiling or frowning. So somehow by the shape of the lips of the people, it runs some algorithm and tells blind people whether the person is happy or unhappy with them. This helps them to understand social situations better. So this chapter introduces, mentions such applications so that first of all the child can understand why they need to learn computer vision and where it is used. So once that is understood by the child, the next section is of images. So this is a little bit technical because this covers the basics of the digital images. So I have started right from the beginning, that is pixels. What are pixels? What are resolutions? What are pixel values, image colors, how they are manipulated. All this is again mentioned in the chapter. Once they understand what images are and how they are produced, then we go on to the image features. We tell them how images are used in AI. So, for example, for image detection, if most of us would have seen these American, crime series or something like that, where the stolen truck is, for example, found through some satellite data. Some small box running over the truck and or a person, something like that. So what is all that? Those are all image features which are detected through an algorithm. So next in the chapter is the image features. And then finally, once the child is introduced to all these things, he or she is introduced to the computer vision in detail. That is the technicality, okay, of the computer vision, where they are taught about classification, how images are classified, how they are localized after classifying, how an object is detected, then what is segmentation. All these concepts are explained clearly. And finally, another technical topic, which is conservation, which is again a little tricky topic, but I'm sure which can be understood well, I mean, easily once the chapter is dealt with. So I hope I've answered your question. Yeah.
Yes, so we do not have any other query.
Okay. So I thank
Let's wait
you.
for, yeah, so we can close the session, Chandrika ji, because have not received any other query. So,
Okay.
thank,
Ma'am, can I ask you something?
yes, sure.
Ma'am, so like, do
Chandrika.
we have drag and drop programming? You call graphical programming these days. So, ma'am, do we have any kind of tool in order to introduce the basics of programming in grade 9, 10? Because see, Python, I honestly feel like Python is something which is a core programming language, and most probably in ninth and 10th grade we will be able to cover if conditions, for loops, and maybe the functions of the basic inbuilt functions and the user defined functions of Python programming. So do we have any
Correct.
drag and drop programming which will give a kick start to the students for learning this AI?
Yeah, I'll be happy to answer this, and also glad that you asked this question, because see, children of schools in different, sorry, excuse me, children of in schools of different levels know programming at different levels. So there may be a sixth standard child who knows everything about programming generics. Okay, but there may be others who are in, as you said, ninth and 10th, who may not be introduced to programming for the simple reason that they didn't have any interest in it, or their school didn't have it, or it may be any reason. So, to introduce programming to such children, there are a lot of things which you can do. You can start with a Scratch programming language, which is a very easy programming language to introduce programming concepts. These programming concepts are generic across all programming languages. Okay, so the function of the for loop remains the same in C++, C, or Python. Okay, only the syntax changes. Okay, so you can introduce a child to programming through Scratch programming, language, then there is one website called code.org. Okay, this provides free tutorials on teaching, on introducing programming to kids. Okay, this also has fun games through which you can introduce programming to kids, whatever the age may be. It may be 8-year-old or a 16-year-old or a 20-year-old. They can be introduced to programming with their video lessons. And also, of course, they can implement, they can do make their own apps, they can work in apps, and in the process, they can learn the fundamentals of programming. So there are a lot of such apps and websites available which are generic in nature, which do not belong to any programming language, but which teach the fundamentals of programming. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, ma'am. See, when you talk about the general programming and the general concept, I do get that we have Scratch and Code.org.
Mm,
However, when you are like you earlier spoke about deep learning, you spoke about image recognition, you spoke about voice recognition. So
correct.
I was looking for a solution in those directions, like you just simply drag and drop. Because see, for giving a kickstart to a student, he needs to see that what is he exactly learning, because everything has to be objective oriented, everything has to be precisely stated that if you are doing certain thing, then this will be the outcome of that particular task that you are performing. So
Correct.
I did not actually got any of those platforms. See, ma'am, you rightly stated that from grade 6, 7th onwards, every student might know and might not know, because it is all about
Correct.
the interest that has been inseeded in them. So I was
Hmm.
looking for a solution in terms of AI specifically, so that you should have something like drag and drop, in which there would be an option for choosing an image. So you choose an image, and the system automatically,
Hmm.
recognizes and gives the output. Okay, this is a smiling image, and this is the sad image. So that a child is able to understand that what is the functionality, how is the flow going, what is the output which is coming out.
Yeah, so as
I
I
I
said,
I I hope I hope I made my point clear.
yeah. So see, that's what I said. So there are a lot of drag and drop applications which are used to teach programming language, and Scratch is one of them. I mean, Scratch is the most simplest and the easiest of the tools to learn programming language, where we don't know what the child is going to drag and drop. Okay, so once the child does that, he or she understands, okay, I'm using this command and the outcome is this. Even we don't know what the child is going to use next. So such drag and drop, there are lots of them. I mean, many big companies nowadays, they have produced their own software, okay, which has drag and drop actually applications to teach programming. So there are a lot of them. I mean, if we browse the internet. And code.org is one of them. I mean, it teaches according to the age group, and it teaches through apps, and it teaches coding, core coding.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, most welcome. Anybody else?
Any questions, please? Okay, so I think Chandrika ji, we can close the session.
Okay.
Okay.
So I thank you all for attending this webinar. I hope it was helpful to some extent in understanding the syllabus and the structure and the basics of AI. So thank you all.
Yes, thank you so much, Chandrika ji. Thank you for the efforts and for the excellent explanation. And
Most welcome.
I'm very sure that it was very helpful and insightful. And we would also like to thank all the participants. And we are sure that this information has developed more awareness and knowledge about AI. So we look forward to see everyone in the next webinar. And I would also like to add that we have many books like BPB Computer Course and sample papers for exam success, and including artificial intelligence books. And Basically, they are meant for every school. Every school should have, and the details of these can be seen on bpbonline.com. So we hope that you all benefited from this webinar, and if there is any other query, we'll be happy to answer that after the webinar. Okay, Chandrika ji, thank you so much.
Most welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
All
Thanks
of
a
you
lot.
have a good day. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.